Chapter 117 Reconciliation. When these women heard Han Li's words, their complexion rapidly changed from white to red, slightly increasing their beauty. Lady Yan was the first to calm down. She lightly straightened the jade pin in her hair bun and once again said calmly, "Even if your esteemed self is a cultivator and does not fear this bewitching scent, are you not worried about the yin poison in your body?" Nevertheless, she used her last trump card. The moment Han Li heard what she said, his smiling face immediately turned cold. Sure enough, Dr. Mo gave the only weapon that could be used to blackmail him to these women. That's right, I have the cold poison in my body. But before this poison flares up, I don't mind turning this entire residence upside down and utterly slaughtering everyone. Han Li spoke in a flat tone, but the women clearly heard the threat within his words. Lady Yan was silent for a while and did not open her mouth to speak. The rest of them also did not say anything. It seemed that when it came to life and death matters, the one making decisions in Mo residence was still fourth wife Yan. Since the both of us have scruples and we are not willing to let both sides suffer, let's have a good talk. Lady Yan said cool-headedly after that moment of silence. Of course. I also don't plan on dying so uselessly at such a young age. Concerning his own life, Han Li did not put up any airs. He gladly agreed to her suggestion. Hence, he went back and sat in front of Lady Yan. However, before we start discussing, I, your servant, would like your esteemed self to repeat how my lord husband got murdered. After all, we were once husband and wife. We would only be reassured if we knew the real cause of his death. But be at ease, even if Lord Husband died by your hands, we would not have any ulterior motives. After all, we are orphans and widows, we cannot go looking for trouble and personally seek the road to death. Lady Yan's last sentence was spoken so desolately, making it seem as if Han Li was the kind of evil tyrant who bullied women and children. One look at Lady Yan's face and Han Li can't help but have a headache. Even though he knew Lady Yan was just acting, when he saw her miserable state, he felt his heart soften a little. Wasn't it just telling them how Dr. Mo was murdered? There was nothing to cover up in this matter. After all, Han Li acknowledged that Dr. Mo's death was not his fault. Instead it was Dr. Mo and Yu Jitong who should be blamed for courting disaster. Alright, I can describe Teacher Mo's death in detail. But after you all have listened and still insist on taking revenge on me, I will oblige you at any time. Han Li agreed to their suggestion after pondering for a while. Many thanks to young master. When Lady Yan heard that Han Li was willing to speak the truth, her face immediately opened up and revealed a delighted look. This was what happened. I was deceived by Dr. Mo, after practicing eternal spring arts for 4 years, only then did I discover. Han Li patiently told them how he was cheated, poisoned by Dr. Mo and forced to practice the eternal spring arts. He explained that Dr. Mo had wanted to occupy his flesh body by entering his body and consuming his fundamental essence. Naturally, Yu Jitong had then appeared and narrated the entirety of his schemes. Han Li finally discovered about his body's yin poison and had no choice but to come to the Lan province and detoxify himself with the precious warm yang jade. He narrated the events the way they truly happened. Han Li wanted these wives to know that in the occurrence of Dr. Mo's death, Han Li was the true victim. He hadn't slighted the Mo estate in the least. After Lady Yan and the other wives finished hearing Han Li's heart-shaking tale, they couldn't help but look at one another. If Han Li's words were true, then their lord husband's death was not truly Han Li's fault. In addition, hearing the methods that Dr. Mo had used and his shrewdness, they greatly matched the long-acquired impression they had of their dead husband. Furthermore, the bits of information that the hidden letter revealed didn't contradict his story in the slightest. They estimated that his story should more or less be true. If your esteemed self had spoken the complete truth, then our lord husband's death truly was not yours to blame. This was rather the fault of Yu Jitong's ruse, otherwise how else would our lord husband have died? Lady Yan lightly sighed. Her words made Han Li raise an eyebrow. This Lady Yan is far too favorable toward her own lord husband. With a few words, she easily pushed the entirety of Dr. Mo's wrongdoings onto the deceased Yu Jitong, cleaning Dr. Mo of the blame entirely, as if he were also a victim. Han Li stared at Lady Yan with widened eyes. Although his mouth did not say anything, his expression showed a strange emotion and made his meaning completely clear. Lady Yan, under Han Li's attentive gaze, did not blush or jump. She only turned a blind eye. Han Li inwardly bitterly smiled. This woman's face was quite thick, not one bit thinner than a man's. He could not help but turn his head to look at the expressions of the other wives. Third wife Lu still had a smiling, cheery appearance and didn't have the slightest change. When she saw Han Li looking over, she gave him several flirtatious glances, causing Han Li to remain silent. When second wife Li saw Han Li looking at her, she looked ill at ease and faintly lowered her head. She certainly was worthy of being called a girl from a wealthy family, as well as educated and well-balanced. It was clear she was somewhat ashamed of Lady Yan's words from a moment ago. As for fifth wife Wang, although this cool, elegant young woman was expressionless, she was entirely focused on tangling her fingers together, exposing an abnormality of her heart. As for her attitude, Han Li did not know. However, according to young master's words just now, we have no deep animosity or hate toward one another. In that case, it would be best to conduct peace talks. Lady Yan opened her almond lips and faintly said this. When Han Li heard Lady Yan's words, he turned his head and faintly stated, "What is there to discuss? Give me the precious warm Yang Jade, and I will turn around and leave, certain to no longer disturb the Mo estate. That is out of the question." Lady Yan faintly smiled and immediately gave a flat decline. "Why is it unacceptable?" Han Li said, unagitated. "Yesterday, young master was outside this servant's room and should have heard much of the vile situation the Mo estate is in. It should be quite clear to you, sir, that without external assistance, our Mo estate will be completely exterminated. It is only a matter of time. If it is like this, then it would better to have young master cleanly kill us sisters instead and have death end all troubles." Lady Yan pitifully lamented with red eyes. When Han Li heard this, he bafflingly stared at Lady Yan without speaking, directly looking at Lady Yan's scarlet cheeks. However, she stubbornly continued to refuse to meet Han Li's gaze. Han Li let out a long sigh. He now knew where Mo Kaiwan, that little demoness, learned her clever schemes. It was clearly from imitating this older demoness.